Today, I want to talk to you guys about the secret to unlocking the full potential of your voice. And to answer this very big question, and maybe a little bit of a vague question, I have Coach Kate from our team here with us. Hello, Kate.
Hey.
Thank you for joining me for this. It seems a little bit like this the one secret, right? The one thing that you have to do to unlock the full potential of your voice. It's very much like, yeah, but isn't it going to be different for every singer? Doesn't it depend on so many different things? And the long answer would probably be yes, of course, it always depends,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh yes.
Yeah. But I think still there is one underlying main thing that applies to every singer, no matter what your background is, no matter what voice type you are, no matter if you're a beginner or more advanced, or your age, or the style of music that you're singing, or your tendencies, or whatever. I do believe there is one underlying thing that if you can master this, all the other things will start to get a lot easier so you can, reach your full potential. And I'm basing this off of my own experience and the experience that I've had with a lot of my students that I've worked with in the past as well. And that thing is effortless singing.
Yeah, and the first thing I always do when I'm working with a new student who might be experiencing too much effort when they sing, right? Because when we think of effortless singing, we think of how much physical energy are we outputting as we're singing, right? So a lot of times, the first thing I'll do is try to calibrate them. How much effort are you putting out? One is we're sitting on the couch watching Netflix. 10 is we're scrolling defying gravity in the car and nobody's listening, right? Yeah.
Ding.
Yeah. Same. So, we kind of have to calibrate what is your high effort level and your low effort level. And the number one thing I always first say with students when they're having really high effort levels for songs that could be probably much lower is their new max is an 8, right? 9 and 10, we're only going to touch every now and then. Your new max capacity is an 8, right? And that's really how we find that effort that's going to be something you can do every day. Maybe you're doing 3-hour shows with no break or no in-ears, So you have to figure out where is my max capacity and then calibrate from there. And a lot of times what happens is students figure out that they can sing with less effort and still get the sound that they're looking for, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And I would even go further and say, like, once you reach 9, the result that you're getting actually becomes worse.
Yeah, it
Right? Like the
can. It can.
tone. That's how it was for me, right? Like
Yeah.
I was just yelling on pitch, honestly. Like, let's be real. I was pretty much just yelling on pitch.
No, yeah,
And
and same with me. That was a big struggle. I had to realize that okay, I don't need to be like killing myself to get to these notes.
yeah, yeah. And when you get into that more shouty kind of tone quality, I would argue that, or personally as a preference, I would rather have a balanced, beautiful belt rather than a screamed kind of sound, unless it's,
Absolutely.
a stylistic thing that we're going for. But yeah, reducing effort gives you an equally good result, if not even a better result. And that was a fear that I always had when I first started my singing journey, or at least like the first 10 years of my singing journey, was if I am not working really hard, I
Hmm.
will not be powerful and I will not sound impressive and I will not be able to reach the notes that I want to reach because I grew up on Whitney and Beyonce and Christina and Demi and like all those big, belty, powerful singers. So I was always like, well, I need to work my booty off to sound as good as they do. Anything less is not good enough.
Right, absolutely. And I want to throw out there too that you mentioned like a balanced belt. And that is the second thing I usually hit with my students is we need to balance out your registers in order to even be able to mix and in order to be able to belt. When we have one register like your chest voice or your head voice that is stronger than the other, we get this thing called stretch weakness, right? Where one muscle can yank the other one down. So it sounds like, Laura, and same with me, my chest voice was really strong as a kid, and everybody was like, yeah, sing in your chest voice, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And then my head voice was weak. It was like hefty and wimpy, that commercial. And we need to balance those out if we want to have a balanced and nuanced style of mix and belting. And with that, we need to calibrate our efforts and our muscle strength, and that's like the kind of the pillar in which my teaching stands on.
Yeah, and that is why I say like this is the one thing. Like if you're going to focus on one thing in your singing journey, figure out
Yep.
your effort because once you can reduce that, that's when it gets more easy to balance your registers. Because I was so used to just pushing through, I couldn't even get into a head voice, right?
Yeah.
Because I was just holding on for dear life. So, anyways, right? Like effort levels first, everything else will start falling into place. For me, mix was starting to become a thing. I couldn't do that before. Vibrato started to come out.
Mm.
Riffing would get a lot easier. Like all these things that I wanted to be able to do with my voice started happening so much more easily and more effortlessly once I figured out the effort levels. And I see this with all my students as well.
Yeah, and what I will say about effort levels is that your perception of how it's going to feel compared to maybe where it was before you calibrated those effort levels might feel off. Like when I first kind of calibrated, I was like, well, this doesn't feel good, or like this doesn't feel like it gives enough, right? And that is just your brain lying to you and telling you, well, if you don't do it this way, then no one's going to connect with you. No, no,
Yeah.
that's not true. It will take a little time. So, be kind to yourself through the process of adjusting your effort level because you can get the same results, the same emotion, and everything that you want when you were at a 10, when you're at like a 7, right? It's
Yes.
totally possible.
Oh, I hear this all the time when I'm working with singers in their first lesson with me, like reducing effort, and they're like, "All right, like I ask them, how hard are you working to reach these notes?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know, maybe like a 6 or a 7." And I'm like, "What? I thought you were gonna say like a 9 or a 10, but okay." And then we try again, and we make some adjustments, and then they sing their stuff again. And then I ask them, "Do you feel like this is still powerful enough?" To me sounds like, wow, this is amazing. You don't need to do more than that. And they're thinking, this is not powerful enough because they're
Yeah.
so not used to hearing that, basically what you were
Mhm.
saying. And I'm like, I promise you, pretty please, just believe me for the next few months. And you will also see how this is plenty. It does take some time for that adjustment. You're totally right.
Yeah, and it's not like a switch flip with singing. And I know we discussed this, a lot like throughout on this channel, especially we talk it is not like a light switch that you can turn on and suddenly these muscles are coordinated and the agility is agilitying, it takes time and patience and consistency.
There's really only two things in life that I wish for that are just not possible. I'm not even going to say not probable. I'm going to say they're not possible. One is being able to teleport myself to anywhere in the world
Ugh,
instantly.
I would love that.
That is one. And the other is learning a new skill instantly. That's just not how it works. It takes time and it takes practice and it takes effort.
Right, especially as adults, we are used to things coming easily, and if they don't, we just like throw them away, right? You can think about a hobby you started where suddenly, it's not coming as easily and you kind of just lose interest. It's one of those things where you have to push through the weeds to get to where you want to go. And we used to do that as children all the time, every day. So it's something to keep in mind as you're pushing through this. And obviously, your coach, is going to be there to help push you along too and keep reminding you. I'm always reminding people.
Oh, I'm 100%. And you're never really done learning, especially in the singing world, right? Like there's always more things that you can do, always better, always bigger, always whatever. But also, I think it's important to still find beauty in your voice where it's at right now and not just
Absolutely.
like eventually when I get there, I will sound good or whatever. Like, no, let's figure out what you can do well now already too. And that will also then help you sing with less tension and more effortlessly too, because you're not as a beginner trying to sing Mariah Carey songs.
Right. Yeah, it's important not to harp on all of the things that don't feel good, and it's important to think about the things that feel really good. Or it's important to think about it as, what was my goal for this? Okay, to sing with less tension. Did I sing with at least 1% less tension? Then that is the win. You know, like that
Yes.
is the win right there. It and that 1% is gonna slowly chip away, you know? So focusing on the wins, focusing on the good, those are really important.
Yeah, and everybody always says, it's the journey, not the destination.
Right. Life's a climb.
Yeah. It's a climb.
Our Lord and Savior, Miley Cyrus, said,
Yes.
life's a climb.
That is so true. And I know it's hard. I struggle with it all the time. I'm always like, I mean, like I said, the two things that I wish in life is instant travel and instant learning a new skill, right? I'm all about like, let's do it now or yesterday, not,
Yeah.
and let's get there really quickly. So I very much understand how much of a struggle this can be, but it is so worth it because
Yeah, and I have to
you can
remind
do all the
myself that
things.
too. You know, I have to remind myself that too, even in lessons, right? Like, okay, this skill is building. We're not all the way there yet, you know? But it's gonna take a few weeks. And then lo and behold, like 3 weeks later, they're doing that skill without even thinking about it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Progress can happen really quickly, really quickly. I was going to say
Really
fast and
quickly.
quickly at the same time, really quickly. But you just need to stick with it and do the right things for your specific voice, and you'll get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Kate. Is there anything else I mean, there's a million things, obviously, when it comes to singing, but anything else that's really important when we talk about, the one skill to really focus on for any singer, no matter where you're at in your singing journey?
I don't think so. For me, number one is get those two muscles, your low pitch muscle and your high pitch muscle, equally strong. So put in those reps at the gym.
I always fought that because I was like, I don't want to sing like super soprano-y high stuff. I just want to belt. And so you're
Hmm.
like, I don't need my head voice. Like, no, you do. You do.
You
Trust us, you
do.
do.
You so
You do for the
do.
balance. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kate, for joining me for this. To everybody watching or listening, join us for our live class. It's happening on Saturday, March 14th. We will dig a lot deeper into this topic and other topics as well that are going to help you reach your voice's full potential no matter where you're starting from right now. So come and join us there. The information is in the description below. And that's it for today. Alrighty. Thank you,
See you
Kate. We'll see you
later.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.